What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. If you ever want to see like a leftist or an SJW or a journalist absolutely freak out, mention men's rights to them. It's literally their kryptonite. They think men have it so incredibly easy, even when presented with, many of the statistical facts about men, in terms of their prison sentences versus women for the same crime, in terms of rates of, taking yourself off this planet, rates of homelessness, all these things that far disproportionately affect men. Now, the very same people who want nothing but politics in video games is upset when somebody puts politics in their video games that they don't like. $2,000 Steam game starts with 8-minute long men's rights rant. First of all, the $2,000 game seems like a troll, I would guess. I'm guessing. And they tweeted out about like $2,000 Steam game starts with 8-minute dialogue about men's rights. The real game is a developer playing you by using clickbait-worthy absurd piece to indirectly spread a manifesto that would otherwise go unseen, as if it were a normally priced free indie release that sounds fun to play as PowerPoint. Exactly. They absolutely fooled them into it. This game developer absolutely fooled Kotaku and like other news outlets into spreading their men's rights comments. Just came here to say men's right and to block Kotaku. I mean, this site is completely toast. And they've been melting down about this game that really nobody would have seen. It has 2 user reviews. I suspect they probably don't or have not played the game. You see, not recommend. It's got 0.8 hours. Oh, maybe they did buy it. This is the worst game ever made. Yes, worse than Big Rigs or whatever else you're managing. It's not incompetent, drably written, hideously illustrated, and offers contemptible worldview. Its developer's a thin-skinned buffoon who I'd pity for how pathetic he is if his vacuous screds weren't so soulless. So somebody bought the game, never intended on keeping it, and left that review. They played for 0.8. And, no, I did not buy this. But people are reviewing it anyway. I mean, I don't care. $2,000 for this game is a steal. Honestly, can't wait for the sequel. Even more hidden and unknown. Plus, here's a got it easy 100% achievement. It's a social experiment worth every penny. You can also see a lot of people understanding that, of course, this was a meme. Steam gets a bunch of new games all the time, but one that's been making headlines for this week is an absurdly exorbitant $2,000 price tag. That game, The Hidden and Unknown, isn't exactly worth your time, though, especially considering it has an extremely long opening text crawl all about men's rights and the human cycle of reproduction. Ew. Developed by ProX.Team, The Hidden and Unknown is the latest indie Steam title to capture some of the internet's attention for a handful of reasons. Yeah, it really is $2,000. Yeah, it really does take less than 2 hours to finish. And yeah, it really does have a Star Wars-like opening scroll that's 8 minutes long and completely unskippable. The facets alone make the game somewhat curious for gamers like myself. You know how gamers always calling themselves gamers, right? Everyone knows that. No, you're not a real gamer until you write you're a gamer on the internet and you mention a recent video game. However, the thesis in the opening sequence has me raising eyebrows as it posits that most Western men today are feminine. Pfft, agree. And incapable of taking the lead. Big agree. In other words, soy boys are a no-no. I mean, I think that there's this idea of the whole so-called human cycle that cannot be stopped as long as humanity continues to exist. Well, okay. I mean, here you have, there's so much to unpack here. I don't even know where to begin. However, if you're familiar with men's rights activism, a political movement centered around the notion of a structural discrimination against men, again, I just showed you. I just told you that there are indeed things that go against men. Men will serve longer terms in prison for the same crime as women. Men will serve harsher sentences. Men disproportionately get the short end of the stick in terms of custody agreements. Men obviously suffer from homelessness at rates 3 to 4 or 5 times as much as females. Men are deal with mental health in the ultimate manner far more than women. Systems of support for men are pathetic. You see, 1 million women's shelters and 0 men's shelters. You talk about the way that men are mocked when they're being vulnerable or asking for help. So yeah. And then they wrote, it points to it's dangerous rhetoric peddled by the likes of self-proclaimed misogynist Andrew Tate and popped up by streamers such as Aiden Ross, all of which basically advocate for men's position on top of a horribly patriarchal society that still takes advantage of women. Look at this article they wrote. They said, quote, I've been accused of being transphobic and misogynistic and more. However, I would like everyone to know that I have no problem with men, women, trans people, or any other group, as long as they're able to respect me as well, the pro said. People have been accusing me, showed me no respect, and went straight to conclusions, which doesn't make a good image for them. I mean, this is like a perfect troll that they fell for. They completely fell for this. And like they wrote this entire scred. It's kind of hard to read, actually. There's an idea called the human cycle, which cannot be stopped as long as humanity continues to exist. This has been the case since the inception of civilization. However, with unprecedented advancements in science, things might not be the same as they used to be. Whereas previously only a small portion of people could afford being weak, the situation is different today. I wouldn't say most, I say many, Western men today are feminine. And most of Western women today are masculine. Again, I wouldn't say most, but many. Men mistake being weak as being masculine. Men mistake being weak as being good. They don't often offend females. Yeah, I mean, I may not agree with every little thing in this, but, it's actually incredibly based at points. And, this is because the media had perpetrated this fake thing as, that they called toxic masculinity for how many years, right? And they've basically attacked masculinity for many, many years. The reason for this shift is not as one-dimensional as one would believe, as of course the main causes of modern disease is the fact that many plastic projects release estrogen and plastic is cheap to use for I mean, maybe that's true. I don't know. There's probably some bizarreness, but here's the thing. I don't know, 50,000 people are going to see this now because I covered it. In Discord DMs with Kotaku, a hidden and unknown developer, the game, known only as the Pro, so the game loosely followed his own experience, though it's not an exact copy. The Pro explained that the game calls most Western men feminine and weak, and they don't necessarily believe that men are generally weak. However, anyone who has had easy life will be weak. For the most part, that might ring true. Not anyone. Again, I wouldn't go all the way with his all or most, but certainly many. And of course, they just trick, these guys into reviewing it. I don't think they actually want to sell this game. I can't imagine it. I mean, but they're getting all these articles. And again, the $2,000 Steam game draws heat with opening men's rights message. So they get this too, and they get yet another article covering probably the only important part about it. Probably the only part about the game. Now, maybe they thought they were going to sell a bunch of copies of it. It seems unlikely, given, the fact that the game is not much of a game, and the fact that they picked a meme price of $2,000. It seems extremely unlikely that they thought, they were going to sell any amount of copies of this. But, I guess, oopsie reporters, because now everyone's just going to cover it anyway, and his message is going to get out. Now, maybe he won't get $2,000 a copy from people, but something tells me that's not what they wanted in the first place. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do leave a like on it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.